Hello again, everyone. And thanks for joining us again for this second panel. Before we get started talking more about reading, we did have some audience questions, two that are quite practical for the panel, and then one kind of fun question. So the first practical question was more about finding your audience. So particular kind of specific mechanisms you use to reach potential readers. Are there specific hashtags when you were talking about how you find your community versus how you get reviews? What are you actually doing in practice? What does that look like?
So there is actually a very good book about this. I don't remember the name of the book. It might have been like Seven Figure Out Author or something like that. And but the main thing is you have to first understand who is your reader. This is the main thing. Like who is it? Is it the 40 plus person? Is it the young person? Is it everyone? What's the demographic? Who are those people who will read your book or who would benefit from reading your book? So this is the first question you have to ask. Who have I written this book for? Or who are those people who are supposed to read my book? Of course, it can expand over the time. You might find more people, but yeah, this is the like first question, and then you can already go from there. Yes, that is my first thing that you have to figure this out first, and everything else comes later.
Yeah, I have to say that at this point I know who is my reader, but I haven't been too much advertising myself because I want to get the second book out and then I go full power. But yeah, it's typical, especially when you are introvert or no. Yeah, every time you have to think who is your ideal reader and try to find them. I have not success on this, but not really, uh, because I feel I'm kind of minority in TikTok because I don't have spice in my books. But the spicy books are really easy to market and find the audience because they have very specific and they know what they want. So when I try to find the people who don't really want to read the spicy fantasy, or not good fantasy without spicy, and then I had to work really, really hard for that. But I have some strategies I have worked over time, and I'd say it's a trial and error thing. Just see what works for you and go for that.
I don't know. I have a bit of different point of view about this. I usually write not thinking, this is gonna be for 15-year-olds or for the grandmas or for like, no, I write a book that I know I'm gonna like. So because well, for me, this is the where the enthusiasm of writing comes. So yeah, I don't know. I was just talking in the break that it's very hard in this like times because what in the previous times it was asked from it was asked from 20 different people. Now society is asking it just from one writer, meaning you have to be your own social media manager, you have to be your own sales manager, you have to think on all these things that in the past this is what the publishers used to do, or I don't know, somebody else. So yeah, I don't know, in this sense I like probably I have failed also at that. I don't know what is better, if write something thinking of this is going to be for these people, or just write something because you enjoy it and they just hope that everybody enjoys it too. Probably from marketing point of view, this is a disaster. But yeah, we all write for different reasons, I guess. All is bad. I don't. I add just one thing that I never write to a special demographic, but later on when your book is ready, so you can do either way. You can start writing books thinking about the demographic you're going to write this book to, you can always write the book that you would like to read. So this is also what I do. I write books that I like to read. And that therefore the work is much harder later. Like, who is this book for? Who am I? Like, what are the things that in me that like my own book? So this is and then I will put together this list. So yes, just very clearly list up.
Yeah, this second practical question is very related to what you were saying, Sophie, about what is expected of writers these days. And it was about kind of routes to self-publishing. And I don't know if all of you have self-published, but some of you mentioned that you submitted to Estonian publishers. But when you're doing these like Amazon publishing, or what is that process like? How accessible is it for you to manage on your own, or you have like people helping you, or how does it work?
Well, I'm self-published. I'm also traditionally published from this year, but traditionally I have published a business book, so something very different. And I did it with a traditional publisher, and let me tell you, this is so easy. Oh my God, it's so easy compared to self-publishing. It's like traditional publishing is super easy. It's like you have to do only fractions of what you have to do in order to do self-publishing. So as a self-published author, we have to do events like this. So that's why we're here as well, to spread the word that it's possible to do it only on your own. You don't need a publisher. You don't need it. You can do it your own. It's not easy, but things that are worthwhile are never easy, are they? So it doesn't have to be easy. It's a grueling process, but it's worth every moment when you have done all of those things in order to get your book out. And the first, like the first book arrives and you open this, it's almost like having a child, almost. So, so it's like, yeah, you have it, and I was like, I made this, and I made this happen on my own. The kind of the feeling of accomplishment, you cannot ever reproduce it with the usual, like with anything else. Like I have that comparison with self-published book and traditionally published book. So I have it. I could say that the self-published one was like, how do that? Wow.
Yeah, I have to admit it is difficult. It's a hard work. I have traditional published book also, and I guess especially in, I don't know, European countries or some other countries, you don't need an agent. You just go to the publisher and it's done if it's accepted. But so it's easy to be a traditional published, but possibly not in English in Estonia. But once you write already in English, then you have to be self-published. Or you can wait like years and years and query for the agents first and then find the publisher. So yeah, it's a hard work. You have to do everything yourself. And it costs money. A lot of money. Very expensive hobby. Yeah, indie publishing is a very expensive hobby. I have learned so much doing that because yeah, you have to do most of it by yourself, but you also have to acknowledge that some things you can't do by yourself. You have to pay for a good editor, a great cover, multiple editors actually, if you will, sometimes. It's very different from the traditional publishing, where you don't basically have to put money out, absolutely none of it. But I wouldn't change it because I heard querying in English is absolute torture, and I don't want to waste my energy on that. So indie publishing is very accessible, especially with Amazon. It actually blows my mind how easy it is to get your hook out there. The hard part is finding the readers. That That's the whole another story here.
I could talk a bit about this traditional publishing because this is mostly where my books have gone, except for the one in English, because of the very same reasons that they mentioned. And it has been really, 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 really hard. I mean, to get one book published, well, probably if you have tried, you know what I'm talking about. It's like getting in your face, shop doors in your face like 100 times. This is how it is. You send to the manuscript to the publishers with a very nice cover letter or whatever, and no thank you. If they are nice, no thank you. But mostly they don't reply. And it's this constant failure, this constant feeling of failure that this is worth nothing. What? Why in the world am I doing this for? Like, yeah, it is like that. But that's why it's so important to understand why are you writing. I mean, I think we are naive. Any writer is naive if you think that your book is gonna pass to posterity and somebody's gonna read it in 40 years. No, this is nobody should think like that because it's not gonna happen, or most probably not. So, but if you're very sure you're writing because you want it, because it's for yourself, because it's not just to get published, because you want this book, it's yours, it's your baby, then you have to continue knocking those doors. And you know what? One day they open. And yeah, it took me like 3 years to get the first book published here in Estonia. And first of all, I'm not even Estonian, I'm Mexican. There is a lot, I mean, let's say, there is a lot of like preference, obviously, for local writers. So I thought, I'm never gonna get this published. What am I doing here? I mean, why did I come to Estonia, where the market of Spanish, where is my mother tongue, is like millions, millions. But well, what am I doing? So this was my mindset at some point, like getting rejected so many times, and then good, they just somebody likes it and then they publish it. But you have to continue. This is one thing. The other, I think, is trying to get publish due prices. It's the same. It's applying for like 100 prizes every year. Actually, I remember when I won a prize for this last of my. It's a prize I won in Mexico. It's published. The name of the book is The Flower in Its Library. I forgot that I applied to that prize. I applied like for so many, but then when they told me, "Yeah, you won it, it's gonna be published," I was like, "What is it? I don't even remember it." But it was like, well, finally, 3 years trying and trying, and this is how it is in the traditional publishing. But it's true. Once you get there, then you don't need to do anything. I would say a plus side from the self-publishing is that then you manage your sales. I mean, in the traditional publishing, they don't pay you much. You get published, yes. Then you start building like a CV, because once you are published by a let's say recognized publisher, then it's easier to get your second and your third and so on, because they already know you, or because others see them. Look, they publish her, so or they publish that. It's like being a doctor. You start to build like this trustworthy thing, but then you don't see much of the income. So if you self-publish, then you manage those, and nobody's taking away that income from you. So it has also pros and cons. As she said, yes, there's more visibility also because you manage it. You are the one who decides where you go. If you put it on Amazon, if you want an audiobook. So yeah, I would say both are good options depending how much you want to invest in your time, money, and soul. Sorry, went too long.
No, that's great. I think the audience really appreciates your perspective. Okay, and then we had kind of one fun question as well about fan fiction. I think, Tuli, you were also saying that you were a reader of fan fiction before, and then a writer. But the question was, how would you feel if your readers started to write fan fiction based on your work? Would you be flattered by this, or is there some kind of ill feeling towards people potentially like plagiarizing some of your work?
I would be very excited. Actually, it would be so interesting to read how the characters interact differently. They have different adventures, different shippings. Who knows? So it would be, yeah, I will be very excited to read that.
Well, I write dystopian and dark psychological trailers, so I don't know, but I would be very admired if someone takes my work as an example. I think the same. I have to say honestly, I have never read fan fiction. I have never read fan fiction. I can't even. That's not my thing. But because it goes to the reading stuff. But if someone would write fan fiction out of my book, go for it. I would be also very interested to read it. It would be very, very much fun. It's like, wow, you liked it so much that you wrote your own book based on that. That is awesome, I guess.
Yes, and I would feel flattered that somebody thought this good enough that now they create their own story based on something. I think it's I don't know, it's one of the greatest things as an artist, as a writer, as a creator of something that you can like think about, I guess.
Thanks. Now we'll move on to some questions about reading. And the question that's been really present in my mind lately is about AI and the way that it's changing the world of literature. And first, I wanted to ask you all, do you think you can easily identify yourself when you're reading that something is potentially written by AI? And this knowledge that it could be, does that change your experience of reading? Does it cheapen it in some way? Do you prefer to read only human written texts, or what are your thoughts on this?
So there was AI came like few years ago, very heavy into writing, and at first I didn't know that people are writing books with AI, but I couldn't read some of the books that were. I started to read it, and on the second chapter already, I was like feeling like there is something weird about this book that I can't continue reading, but I just can't put my like finger on it. Like, what's wrong with this book? There's like everything that seems to be there, but there's something missing. And then I started to understand. Like I Googled a bit and then like, so 99% of the books that I couldn't read further on from second chapter were written with AI. I just there is something off with them, and I recognize it. I first I didn't know it's AI, but yeah. So some people write with AI. I don't think that it's nice because AI is stealing other people's work. So ChatGPT was basically it was trained with stolen book. So Meta stole millions of books legally, and they haven't still like they are building this. I think they are building the law case against Meta, but it won't go anywhere. So basically, anyone who writes with AI writes book with AI is actually stealing from another author. So I think this is the case of ethics. Are you an ethical writer or are you not an ethical writer? So if you are ethical writer, you won't use AI in your writing. If you're not ethical writer or you don't care about ethics that much, then you write with AI. And for me, it's like the question of ethics.
Yeah, I haven't ever read a book in AI or from AI, and I don't like it. I'm loyal to humanity.
Yeah, the same. I haven't read it, but about a year ago, I tried to write with AI because I saw some ad, we put the prompts in and something, So my idea, so what came out from there is you need to be a damn good writer first, and you need to do a lot of work because you have to rewrite a lot what it writes, and it takes time, it takes structure, and the outcome is still not good.
I think I stumbled on an AI book recently, And it was the same thing. It felt off a bit. The structure, the sentence structure, strike me very. There are certain sentence structures you can identify. I weep. The certain words, phrases. If you work with AI or see more AI work, you became conscious of them. And we see AI in marketing really, really much, and newsletters and the social media posts. Once you see it everywhere. Uh, but I think we only recognize the bad AI writing, the ones that had the editors haven't been worked on, because the ones that have heavily worked on might not be so easily identified. Maybe we have read the books that have been written by AI without us even knowing. When there's no prompts there, we don't know it. And I'm really not sure we should uh, tell, oh, this author definitely writes with AI, because we have to have proof for that. The AI witch hunt is really present everywhere. Authors who don't use AI get mm, well, yeah, problems with that. But yeah, I definitely prefer the human writing because it is more unique, and it actually helps me as a writer to learn the style, sentence structure more fluently than some machine writing.
But again, I would say something for the AI. AI is a beautiful tool to use in a certain way, especially if you are a self-published writer. Then you need a PA, and this is where the AI comes in. It's a perfect personal assistant. It can do a lot of things for you. So this is definitely where I use it as well, and I do use it for marketing and marketing plans, because I have used. Just saying, I paid a marketing specialist 500 euros when I started. It was years ago, actually 2 years ago. I paid 500 euros for a marketing plan, and is in 2 months it was you couldn't use it anymore, especially in social media. And then I asked AI to do me a marketing plan. I don't know if it was not identical, but it was very similar. So you don't have to use 500 euros. This is my school money. Don't do that. Ask AI for your marketing plan. This is definitely something where AI could help, and you should definitely go there, because it will save you tons of money.
I agree with that. Like supporting marketing, whatever planning, but not actually writing, because I feel like once you fall into this trap, it kills your creativity. And, and I think something on a different note, but on the same topic, I was thinking that, I mean, yes, we are in the times of the everything fast and the AI, but look where we are now. It's Sunday, and we are not on our phones or screens. We are here. And the more this AI stuff comes, I think it actually opens more spaces for people who want to take refuge somewhere. And this is these literary spaces, books, bookstores, cafes, indie literature, self-publishing, traditional poetry. All this is exactly what these spaces of refreshment that we're gonna need more and more. So I think in the positive side, this is also it's good that these spaces exist for us, for you.
Reach. And I have a related question because proponents of AI argue that actually even the most creative literature follows these kind of familiar tropes or kind of plot lines that we all know, like this enemies to lovers or forbidden love tropes. And as readers, do you think that it's possible that a trope can be overdone, or do you think that it can always be revisited and refreshed?
Yes and no. So when I'm a very avid reader. I used to read, well, not right now. I don't have much time for reading. And when I'm writing a certain genre book, I never read in the same genres, just in case of not taking anything from other books. So this is my kind of a safety net. But before, I really loved dark romance, enemies to lovers, and somehow I have never ever got tired of enemies to lovers. I've read more than 500 books, probably more 2000. I counted 500 and I was like, I can't go further than that. So and I always go for enemies to lovers. I don't know. I'm for a big love story. It always it's just inside of me. I really really love it. So I don't know. It's but nowadays one of the things that can really get very tiring is, for example, dark romance books. They're very similar. They're very, very similar. They sometimes like there are nowadays writers who take tropes. So basically, they take all of these tropes and they say like, I want these to be in my book, and they write like this, and and the books are exactly the same. Like all the writers, like in traditional publishing, mostly write the same books just with different characters, and that is tiring. I cannot go even with some of the mafia romances. They're exactly the same. And then I read indie authors. That's different business. Those and I think this is why these are so uh how to say, they're rising stars because their takes are very very different, and also because traditional publishing very often gives you frame that you cannot go you cannot deviate from that frame. So this had what I've also heard, like you get this deal for 3 or 4 books, and then they they cut a lot of things out that they don't believe in. So yeah. Yeah. Was very tour.
Yeah, maybe just that I had a stumble on some book that it's like, oh, I read it from the other one, but just that in some points, if you read about the same genre used to understand that, I know how it goes on, already in the middle of the book, you can prevent everything, you know how it ends, so it gets boring at some point. I think there's a reader for every trope and every genre, uh, and they don't get tired of that because they search for that everywhere. I do. I do get tired very easily with the same bits. So I always look for something unique. If I see another enemies to lovers, I'm gonna die. I'm very bored from that. I want to see lovers to enemies. It's like that. So I like the different kind of plot twists, different takes on the tropes we see. Just surprise me. If I get bored, I'll just DNF.
I think it was one Argentinian writer, Jorge Luis Borges. He said that um, all the books are the same book. I mean, if you could say that there is one book in the world, and then all the books that exist are just different versions of himself, of itself, and this is in the sense that there is no original literature, because we are all influenced by what we read, by what we saw, by what. So I mean, how do we measure what is original and what is not, if actually everything what we see, what we think about, its influence on other things, and so on and so forth. So I think the novels that have like passed the test of time are those that tackle the, let's say, the heart of the humanity, the problems of the heart of humanity, like enemies, lovers, and so these stories are universal. So yes, it can happen in Galaxy X34, or it can happen in an apartment in Manhattan. I don't know, but it's how you tell the story. So I don't see, if the writer is good, he's gonna manage to get those readers, no matter if it's the Cinderella story retold 100 times, and that is the beauty of it. Yeah, also I was thinking that to get there, I mean, we as writers, we have to be very good readers. I think everybody mentioned it in different moments that I have read. I read this, I focus on that. I mean, you have to keep this muscle of not just getting information, but understanding what great writers did. How did they create this story? How did they build this character? How did they manage to impact me? And this feeds you. The more you read, the better you're gonna be. And of course, you have to write. I mean, be disciplined and write. Maybe this is not gonna be a book later, but write, because this is a muscle. At least that this is how I see it. And yeah.
Yeah, and well, I think all four of you are at least bilingual, if not trilingual, some of you maybe. And I wondered about how reading in multiple languages, across languages, also maybe changes your relationship to writing and to the texts. Even though there is this like element of universality, perhaps there are also differences when you read in particular languages, even in terms of the themes that are covered.
Yeah, you have to definitely read in the language you write. So if you want to write in Estonia, you have to read in Estonia. And the same with English. English and Estonian are very different types of languages. From the structure, from the vocabulary, we have universal stories, but the way these stories are told are very different in the languages. So if I want to take the Estonian story and translate into English, it might not land the same way it lands in Estonia. That was the problem with my book. I started translating it, and I realized I have to rewrite it so much. Deepen it, make new plot lines to fit this into the English language. So all the respect to the translators who managed that. Yeah, there are different traditions and different styles, definitely.
Yeah, definitely different. And then there's also one more aspect. Is it British English, or you're writing American, or I don't know, Australian, Canadian, whatever I choose, but you have to keep it, the same. And then you need to know possibly the slang what we're using, and then stuff like that. You can shoot wild there.
For me, like the best example is actually Harry Potter. That when I was a kid, I read it in Estonian, and then, well, the last book wasn't out in Estonian yet, but I really wanted to know what happens there, and I read it in English, and I was like, wait, what? Who are these characters? These are not the same characters in Estonia. These are not same people even. I was like, what? So Ron and Hermione, they have a love story going on. What is it? And it has been going on for a long time. So that was like mind blowing that in Estonian they have a fully platonic relationship, and then in English they have like so it has been building for several books, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Those are totally separate things. These are not the same, and I think that this is also why some of the movies don't land in other countries, because when the books are translated, they are going to be different. They're going to be so different. And for example, between Estonian and English, the difference is so vast. Like yeah, because I had this book with Harry Potter, and then I had to reread everything. Like I had to reread it in English, like the whole Harry Potter, because this is a different book. And then when I read it in English, then I was like, oh my gosh, it's so different. So yeah, I have never written in Estonian in my life. I started writing in English because it was better for me. I don't know. My music is in English, and I think it in English. So that's the reason. But yeah, definitely very different languages.
Yeah, it's thanks for the question, because this is I feel that this is like something that I'm very related to, because I was sharing before in the break that one of my goals as a, I don't know, as a person, is that I will be able to write my novels, short stories, memoirs, whatever, directly in Estonian one day. And this is the reason why I keep studying Estonian. I have like D2 level, but a teacher told me, if you want to write your own like real literature in Estonian directly, you have to reach like C2 level. Ooh, that's like 10 years of study, but well, I'm here. But I read, I exactly because of that. I mean, I have to read in Estonian, and I stumble up with a lot of words that I don't know, and I just, in the beginning I was like stopping and reading in the dictionary. Now I don't do that. I just continue, and somehow the brain or words like okay, I don't know the exact meaning of this word, but I continue, then it gives me the context, then it's like okay. And that's how I read in Estonian. In English, yes, I force myself to read in English to also keep this like muscle up. And I read in Spanish, obviously, because it's my mother tongue. And mostly I feel more free to writing in Spanish. I don't know how you guys feel. We were talking a little bit about this. Like, how do you feel writing in English directly? Equally free as you would be when you write on your mother tongue? For me, it is hard. I think it also depends on the genre. How deep are you gonna go? So I don't know if I would dare to write. I admire you all guys writing novels directly in English. It's hard. My book is travel writing. This is easy in English.
I can add. I cannot write in Estonian. My Estonian is so bad. It really is. It's like I cannot. Yeah.
Also, Castase, yes. Speaking of Harry Potter,
I actually never read Harry Potter, nor did I read Twilight, and I think that's because I'm quite resistant to reading along with trends that are happening. And when you are selecting books to read, are you paying attention to the trends? And if so, what emerging trends are you seeing right now? What do you recommend us to read?
Read what makes you happy. If you don't like the book in the first few chapters, or maybe 4 chapters max, do not continue. Put it away. There's millions of books that you could love. That's what I think. Life is just too short for books that you don't like. And it was my dilemma. I really wanted to read all the books in the world, but I can't anymore because it's not possible. But what I'm saying also that 99% of trending books in TikTok, I've tried to read them. I've DNF'd them, most of them. It's like they are like very good bestsellers, and I just can't do that. It's like it's the same story written all over again, and just put like more of those tropes in. So that has been. I do try to read occasionally now bestsellers, but yeah, it has gone away. So I guess that this is also like find what you like and just read it. And if you don't, how to say, if you don't connect with the writer or writer's language, just put the book away. There's probably other people who would love this book, and you don't have to force yourself through something that won't serve you.
I would say that there was a time when I was reading also books what I didn't like actually. And that was more like for learning, like to understand what I don't like.
As a writer, exactly.
There's what's the reason why you are reading? Is it you want to escape? Read good books. Depends on the genre. It can be whatever, and it can be changed. Yeah. But sometimes you should read also bad books.
You have a good reason for it. And the bad books show us that we can do better. But I have tried some the popular books in TikTok, and they're usually not to my tastes. Like the Fourth Wing wasn't really my cup of tea. But I had discovered some really good popular books. But they're not international bestsellers or all the rate in the bookstores. But A Legend Born now, for example, I have loved that book. So yeah, I think DNFing is one thing you can always do. I try to give indie authors a chance. Even if I don't want to DNF it, I sometimes push it through. It has hurt my reading. Actually, I have been in a reading slump after a pretty bad book quite some times. But definitely, I agree with saying that life is too short for the add books. So read what you love and learn what you love.
Yeah, I agree. And but at least in my case, what I do, because my mother tongue is Spanish, but you can translate the same idea to any whichever is your mother tongue or what you're planning in the language you're planning to read. Sorry, to write is well. I read the classics because this is where the language comes. Where we're gonna have new words. Well, not new words, but vocabulary, right? So, um, something I don't like about like modern literature, not all the writers, obviously, like certain, and it's also a trend. It's very poor vocabulary, right? So where do we get new words? Where do we enrich our vocabulary world by reading? So this comes from the classics. So I enjoy them a lot, and in my case, from Spanish, the century of gold, el siglo de oro, Don Quixote, those kinds of readings, which when I was a child it was very boring, but now is super amusing. Or novels from the 18th, 19th century. They are great. Nobody talks about them anymore, but this is where the literature flourished the most. So I think we should rescue those roots, let's say, because this is what helps us to build this muscle of writing better. And about the bad books. Yeah, well, I used to think like that yes, there are bad books and good books. Yes, it is true, but at the same time, I think you can also learn a lot, as they say already, from the bad books, what you don't like, what you like, and even maybe not even that. Maybe this bad book that you read got placed some idea in your head that took you to some other good book or to do something that you. There's always like good on a book, so I think we just should keep reading whatever, but let's keep reading. Yeah.
Okay, and on that note, we'll bring the panel to a close. I just want to say a big thank you to the authors on the panel. Let's give them a round of applause.